Part 1.
Hey, how was your trip back to Melbourne?
It was awesome. Luckily, I also had an opportunity to watch the Commonwealth Games.
What is that? Is it something similar to the Olympic Games?
Sort of. It is a multi-sports competition that is held once every 4 years, but only the Commonwealth countries can take part in it.
Then what is the Commonwealth? I think I've heard of it, but don't know exactly what it is.
Well, the Commonwealth is a loose association of former British colonies, dependencies and other territories. Formerly, it was known as the British Commonwealth of Nations, an association of dominions within the territory of the British Empire. After India and Pakistan gained independence in 1947, the Commonwealth defined its modern shape. It dropped the word British from its name, the allegiance to the crown from its statute, and became a receptacle for former colonized nations.
How many countries are there in the Commonwealth?
It consists of 53 independent states spread over every continent and ocean, and includes about 1.8 billion people, which is about 30% of the world's population.
Wow, that's huge. Judging from its size, I guess it has much influence over the international community.
Well, among the member countries, that's true, but the Commonwealth in fact does not act as a bloc in international affairs, and so has little influence over non-members.
It seems like a family of nations rather than an international organization.
It really is. The fact that they have a common heritage in many areas, including a common language, enables them to work together in an atmosphere of cooperation and understanding.
Are there any practical benefits members can get from joining the Commonwealth?
The Commonwealth Fund for Technical Cooperation offers some practical benefits by promoting economic and social development and working to reduce poverty.
That's interesting. I think I have to get some more information about it.
Part 2.
Listen to part of a lecture in a modern dance class.
Isadora Duncan was perhaps one of the most important dancers in the early 20th century in America. People called her the mother of modern dance because she revolutionized dance through ballet. In the 1920s, ballet lacked the grace it has today. It was, all acrobatics and gymnastics. Ballet dancers also endured torturous restrictions to their bodies, such as corseted costumes and shoes that were too small. Duncan criticized these conventions for making dancing inexpressive and unnatural. So she literally kicked off her toe shoes and wore a long, flowing Grecian gown to enhance the expressiveness of the human body. Duncan also brought a new perspective to the use of music. Traditionally, ballet scores like waltzes and polkas were the means of creating dances which dancers simply danced to. However, Duncan believed dancers shouldn't think about music, but should feel it with their soul. For her, music was an inspirational element that brought excitement and emotional energy. So she turned to the finest music of the master composers, Beethoven, Chopin, Bach, and Schumann. Her unique approach certainly paved the way for future dancers and opened up the world of interpretive dance. Isadora Duncan also emphasized moving dance away from strict formal structures and toward more free-flowing forms of personal expression. She employed everyday human movements such as skipping and running in her dance. With such motions, she imitated nature in her dancing. For example, she and her fellow dancers would move together in such a way as to imitate a person or animal breathing, making the whole stage seem alive. That's what made her dancing truly unique.
Part 3.
Well, it's taken a while, but as of February 16, 2005, the Kyoto Protocol has been put into effect. The Kyoto Protocol, of course, is an international agreement aimed at reducing CO2 emissions, which are thought to contribute to global warming. So the idea was to have each country promise to limit the amount of emissions it would release into the atmosphere. The limit wasn't the same for everyone, of course. The aim was, by 2012, they wanted the emission levels to be 5% less than what they were in 1990. That's for all of the world's industrialized countries. Anyway, it started out with the best of intentions, but it met with some difficulties along the way. The main one was that the U.S. wouldn't agree. They thought that businesses would be negatively affected, and that would be bad for the economy. Seeing that the U.S. is the world's #1 producer of CO2 emissions, it makes the goal of cutting emissions pretty tough when they won't have any part in it. And the truth is, those countries that agreed and have been working to reduce emissions from the beginning, well, they're not doing a very good job. And even if they were, even if every country were meeting its goal, it wouldn't be enough. According to scientists, to make a real difference, emissions would have to be cut by at least 60%. Pretty shocking news. However, at least it's something, right? Even if the Kyoto Protocol is not a perfect solution in reality, we still can learn from where we went wrong for future agreements.
Part 4.
Hey, did you hear that another severe landslide occurred in the Rocky Mountains?
Yeah, it was terrible. I wonder why these things happen.
Well, then you should have seen the special report about landslides on TV the other night. I happened to watch it.
Oh, I missed it. Anyway, what are the main reasons for a landslide?
Well, it's like, say you've got a slope, right? Of course, the force of gravity is pulling down on that slope, so the bottom of the slope has to support the weight of everything above it. So if something happens to cause the bottom part to be unable to support the top part, you get a landslide. And that often happens, especially when the slope is too steep.
That makes sense. But what would cause that to happen?
Erosion, like rivers or waves crashing at the bottom of a cliff, or even heavy rainfall can do it. And if you get too much weight on top, like from melting snow, it might be more than the slope can bear.
What about earthquakes? Don't they cause landslides?
That's another possible cause. And you know what else? Landslides can actually cause tsunamis.
Really? I thought earthquakes caused tsunamis.
Those too, and, well, they kind of work together. When major earthquakes occur, they seem to cause giant landslides under the sea. And these underwater landslides are going to create large and potentially destructive sea waves.
And that's how we get a tsunami. Wow.
Part 5.
Cats the Musical is coming to town. A fascinating musical for theater lovers of all ages. Cats will be featured at the Downtown Theater from June 8th till July 11th. Based on T.S. Eliot's poems, Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical has been delighting audiences since 1981 with its collection of colorful cat-like characters that are readily identified by their very human traits. Come and be charmed by Bustopher Jones, the fat gentleman cat who wears an elegant tuxedo. Enjoy the amusing behavior of Jenny Annie Dots as she teaches cockroaches to tap dance so that they might get jobs. You'll be moved as Grisabella, the aging failure, sings an emotional version of Memory. And ladies, be wary of Rum Tum Tugger. He's the bad boy of the group and the best-looking cat in town. And without a doubt, we'll all be angered by McCavity's evil deeds. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be entertained by the incredible dances and brilliant costumes of the cast. Cats is world famous and has won an array of awards, including the Laurence Olivier Award for Musical of the Year, the Evening Standard Award for Best Musical, 7 1982 and 1983 Tony Awards, including Best Musical, and the Molière Prize for Best Musical in France, to name but a few. So don't miss out. To book tickets, call 800-235-9684. That's 800-235-9684. Call now because tickets are selling fast. Don't be the only one in town to miss out on this fabulous story. Visa and MasterCards are accepted.